taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
What's up, everybody? Happy Wednesday. Welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast, your source for news, leaks, and insights about games and the gaming industry for September 4th, 2019, the Wednesday night edition of the show. Hello to everybody in North America. Good night to everybody in Europe, and then happy early morning, Thursday, I guess, to those of you in Australia and New Zealand, that kind of a part of the world. I'm here as always with Cybsidian. How are you doing today, sir?
I'm doing pretty good. It's definitely starting to feel like we're entering fall now, so that's kind of a good thing.
It's starting to cool off. Yeah, it's been ridiculous. Like, it feels like we barely had summer here. It's been like two consecutive days of no rain, total tops. I don't know. It's been very wet. Anyway, is it a bad sign when you're at the dentist and then they look at your X-rays and they see the problem and then they start tapping around on the wrong side of your mouth? Let me know in the chat if I need a new dentist. Because that happened to me today. If you're listening live today, please say hello in the live chat, answer our silly questions, and send in your own questions and comments there as well. We'll read and respond to as many as we can throughout the podcast. And don't forget to slam that like button. It likes it rough, and it tells us in YouTube that you appreciate this content. If you're listening after the fact on one of the audio-only platforms, we're glad you're here as well, and we appreciate your likes and follows. It does take us a day or two to get the podcast up to the audio platform. So if you want to get the latest info sooner, we encourage you to hit the link in the description to subscribe to the Triple S League YouTube channel. Neon Arcade says, "Who needs teeth anyway?" Jer Schultz says, "Dude, new dentist time." Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And it's not the first problem I've had with this dentist, so I'm kind of figuring it's probably time for a new one. All right. So, some exciting Cyberpunk 2077 news today. You've probably heard about it. We'll be diving into that. We also have a couple other things to talk about with the Epic Games Store and some classic Star Wars games that are getting a re-release, which is pretty interesting. But we'll start with Cyberpunk, because something has just been officially confirmed that we've been talking about for a very long time. And I'll just put it in. I'll just read CD Projekt Red's tweet about it, and then we can talk about it. So, CD Projekt Red tweeted today, "Until now, the only thing we said about multiplayer was that it was in R&D. As we're getting closer to launching single-player Cyberpunk 2077 in April 2020, we'd like to confirm that multiplayer is in the works. If you feel like lending us your skills, apply." And then they have a link to their job application page. And then they go on to say the plan for now is to deliver Cyberpunk 2077 in April, then follow up with free DLCs and single-player content. And once we're done, invite you for some multiplayer action. How's that for a roadmap? Crazy.
That sounds like an amazing roadmap. You'd think that, gee, I wonder how they can sell a ton of copies of this game.
I wonder how they're going to make money. Yeah.
So, and again, it's like, this is why we love CDPR. This is why I can look at CDPR and I can say, look, I'm really not happy about the whole, thing that I've gone on a lot about, but that's not going to mean that this is going to be a good game. It just means that it's unfortunately not going to be, geared for me as I would like, but it's still going to be a good thing for the industry as a whole.
Yeah.
And I think that is pretty darn important, pretty darn useful, actually. I like that. I think that's a good thing overall. So yeah, I'm as annoyed as I am about certain things, I can look at this and I can say overall that I think this is a good move, and I'm still very, very, very happy that they're making this game, and I'm still very, very happy that I'm supporting this game, because it's like, look, this is what we need, this is what we've been looking for, and it makes sense. So,
oh, absolutely, I agree. It's not like, I think there is something to be said for letting.
There's things that I would like them to do, but overall, I can't. I'm not going to back my support down just because of minor speed bumps.
Yeah, no. Overall, this looks like it's going to be a fantastic quality game. It's not going to be perfect. There will be flaws with it. There will be things that we can criticize about it, and there have been, recently, especially, some concerns being raised about certain things. But I think this is definitely a good move on their part. Announcing this now, I don't know if it's in response to some of the negative press lately or some of the negative criticism they've been getting, but definitely a good time to announce this and say, yes, we are. I think the free DLCs thing is more exciting. Well, it's more exciting for me than the multiplayer thing. I think it's gonna be fun to see what multiplayer Cyberpunk has to offer, but that they're going to be creating DLCs and giving them away for free. I mean, that's mind-blowing. I mean, especially if they're of the scale of The Witcher. Now, the way it's worded here, says follow up with DLCs, and then in parentheses, free, and then after that they say, and single-player content. So I don't know if that means they're going to have some free DLCs plus some paid expansions, or what that actually means. Either way is fine with me. I mean, I have never had a problem with paying for a good expansion for a game. But that is awesome that they're going to be, continuing to expand the content, and then seeing what the multiplayer has to offer. So they've got a roadmap for this game that extends many, many, many months, possibly years beyond release. So that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
And again, I don't think it can't be done by anybody better. And I think yes. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Also, the CDPR merch store is now shipping to Canada and the United States. They've expanded into North America, everybody. They are slowly taking over the world. So prior to this, they were, I believe, only available in Europe. Have they expanded to Australia or anywhere east yet?
No, I think this is it's a slow rollout. So Europe's covered. Now they're working on North America. Then they'll be moving on to other locations soon. So unfortunately, you do have to wait for some places. Still, it's pretty normal. They're not a mega corporation yet. They can't just snap their fingers and go, this now, be done, and then and then have it done, right? They're getting close to that, but not quite there yet.
Mm-hmm. By the way, if you have the required skills and either live in Wrocław or are eager to move there, you can apply for any of the positions that they have available for working on the multiplayer version of Cyberpunk. They're looking for 3D character artist, design director, DevOps engineer, game designer, lead QA analyst, network programmer, senior gameplay programmer, or tools programmer. So you got any of those skill sets and are wanting to work for CD Projekt Red, now's the time. You can get in on the ground floor of whatever they're doing with the multiplayer over there. Also, we should clarify something that we weren't 100% clear on last podcast, but it's basically been confirmed now that there are going to be some exceptions, but pretty much all of the cutscenes in Cyberpunk 2077 are going to be from a first-person perspective.
Mm-hmm.
So
there's going to be a couple probably in the front end, a couple probably in the back end, and then a handful here and there throughout the story that are going to have that. And unfortunately, that's about it. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's about all we have for those topics. I thought that
you know how I feel about this. So
I don't want to get into it too much. I mean, that is one of the, and I'll just speak my mind on it. I don't mind first person at all, but I do see I do see kind of a disconnect in having so much visual character customization and not being able to ever see your character except occasionally in mirrors. That is one thing that it's kind of left scratching my head, and it makes me wonder if they they made it more first person as they went along in development, because that does seem really odd. So, yeah, if there's anything I would criticize the game for pre-release, that would be it. But I still think it's going to be fantastic. Tara K, sorry, no Cybrant on this. We're not going to get into the first person thing here again. He's spoken his mind on that many times in the past. So
I did rant on this on the Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And I have been on Twitter. I was on Twitter the next couple of days. I took a break from it yesterday. So no, I was on it on Monday, kind of fuming a little bit, slightly, and waited a little bit. Now I did have some very kind folks reach out and talk to me. Nothing's going to change, but they understand that they understand the point of view. So because they understand, and it's been loud and clear, understood. I'm not going to harp on it. I will, of course, take a small victory lap if the biggest problem with the title is that choice. If it comes down to it, it's like, it's like 10 out of 10 game. The only problem with it was this. If that's the only case, then I will stand back and I will say, I told you so. Why do you not listen? But other than that, it's. I mean, I'm sure I'll talk about it here and there a handful more times. But basically, I'm getting ready to have a very disorienting April next year.
We need to find you some nice non-addictive motion sickness drug that's also compatible with your cyborg parts. That should be a simple enough task.
Well, it's mostly due to the cyborg stuff that makes me like that, so it's going to be a little wonky.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But anyway, I mean, yes, it's a decision that was made, and they're sticking to it. Maybe it was a mistake. Actually, I would say it probably was a mistake, but at the same time, it is what it is. I think the game is still going to be fantastic, and as Cyb acknowledges that as well. It doesn't mean it's going to be a bad game, and everything we've seen of it thus far looks pretty fantastic. Neon Arcade, about the only third-person perspective in the beginning and end comment. Cyb, I believe you were more speculating about that. I don't think that was, or did you have any further clarification from somebody on that?
Yeah. So you're gonna see more of the third-person stuff in the kind of in the beginning, and then some of the stuff at the end of the game. The bulk of the storyline stuff has not changed. It's basically the same thing. Mm-hmm. It really has not, since the inception of what they want the game to be and what they were going for. This has not undergone a significant change at all.
Mm-hmm. Right. No, I understand that. But as far as the scenes being at the beginning and the end of the game, was that speculation on your part, or did you get some confirmation from somebody on that?
Oh, sorry. No, that's something I can't talk about.
Okay, then.
Yeah.
It seems reasonable. Mm-hmm. That you'd have an intro cutscene where you see things in third person perspective, and then something similar that wraps up the story. But when you're immersed in the story, then they want everything to be first person. Mm-hmm. And we weren't sure prior to this, if that just meant the dialogue scenes, and if there were still going to be third person story cutscenes. But it's sounding like, with some very few exceptions, it's all going to be first person. So. All right.
I will say, let me add one thing to it, just because this has been going around a little bit, and I do want to throw this out. So there are some people who have been messaging me and sending me some PM stuff and saying, look, it's too far gone. They can't possibly add it into this engine at all. Period. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. You hear this all the time. Now, yes, player animations may have limitations. There might be some ways that they're creating and working with the way that they handle the animations for first person that make it impossible for or make it very difficult. We did have there's a few games that run into this slight problem. But this, for the most part, is not true. Again, some people, you might even hear it from people on the technical team saying, "Oh no, this is you definitely cannot do this this far along in the project. This is not true, and please don't."
Yeah, you basically
please don't muddle the record, because this is an incorrect statement in general. So.
Well, it's the same engine as The Witcher 3, of course, which was entirely third person. Plus, when you have a game that alternates between first person and third person, you basically need two sets of animations anyway. At least that's often how it is done in a game like Fallout 4. If you use the console in creative ways to put the camera in third person and watch some of the first person animations, you get some pretty hilarious and horror movie-esque results. That, like, I remember triggering that animation when you're in the cryo freezer at the beginning, where he bangs on the window for that, which is in first-person perspective. You watch it in third person, his head like twists around and backwards and like goes into your spine, and all kinds of wacko things happen with the rest of the model that they don't care about, because you're not supposed to see all that.
Yeah.
So, Jared Schultz says, Cyb is clipping a bit again tonight. Yes, I don't know why that's happening. It doesn't happen when we're just talking, like when we're talking before the broadcast. I don't know if it's an issue with, when I go live with bandwidth or something. It never used to happen. We may have to find a solution for that. We may have to use a tool other than Discord if we can't find a solution for that fast. So apologies for that. Hopefully it doesn't last. All right. I honestly thought we'd be talking about Cyberpunk for longer than that with all the news that dropped, but I guess it.
No. So okay. Sorry. I thought you were leading into the multiplayer stuff. Not. Okay,
oh well, I don't know. I mean, you're welcome to take it away if you want.
So multiplayer stuff. What can we expect? What do we know? What are we getting for sure? Yes, no's, maybes, all that stuff. All of the good stuff. So where exactly are we, and how? What's going on in this particular case? So we can reasonably sit back and say that there's a good chance that what we're going to have happen is that the multiplayer functionality is going to be not necessarily story related. So the story that you're playing through in the single player game, don't expect to be doing some of those missions with other players. That was at some point, that was kind of the general concept. Like basically they were going to have it so you could bring in people into your story and into your world. Probably not anymore.
Yeah, I remember talking about that a long time ago, that possibility.
Yeah. So this here now, what we're going to be seeing most likely is going to be a completely different mode. It may still happen within the world, but I very much doubt if we're going to see a ton of those quests, because again, and if they did, that would fly in the face of all of the quote unquote immersion that they've gone through, right? If they're going through all of this effort, all of this considerable, slightly ridiculous effort to force everybody to be immersed in the identical way, including two Vs from two different dimensions, is probably going to cause problems. So in all honesty, I can say that I really don't think this is going to be a thing, and that what we're going to get is something is kind of a game mode that is not necessarily tied to the single player story. Aside from happening basically in the same, possibly in the same world, but even that might change. Even that, it might become something akin to more of a, I don't know, akin to more of a an arena type thing, or a I want to say Apex, but then people will say Battle Royale, and like, no, I don't mean Battle Royale. I mean the way that they took the Apex stories, like it's like this is an arena because society is degraded and now it's kind of a blood sports thing, blah 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 blah, competition, champions, all that kind of stuff. It's like, yeah, okay, probably like that. So yeah, so we will no doubt be seeing this evolve, change, tweak a little bit. No doubt we're going to have, some interesting stuff come along, and they're going to play to what they think is the best format of the multiplayer at that time. It could very well be that battle royales are not popular in, I mean, let's be reasonable. This is probably going to be out at the very earliest year and a half. Most likely 2 years, not from today, from release of the game. So just bear that in mind. It could be a very long development cycle. I don't think it'll be 3 years. That's kind of ridiculous. Probably between 2 years to a year and a half. I would imagine that's kind of the time frame that we're probably looking at for the multiplayer. We will be getting DLCs in between that period. Of course, we're going to be getting a lot of content, a lot of game stuff, a lot of these wonderful free DLCs that they're offering, which is going to have lore, new missions, new content, new things to do, new places to go, new people to see, new things to sneak around in, all the good stuff. So yeah, but as far as that idea that this is going to be, this is going to be whatever they're kind of planning, no. So yeah, so that's the general gist of the basically from what we're expecting to see as far as like timeline, as far as when it's going to be hitting us, and then as far as like content, their original concepts, a lot of those things changed obviously because they couldn't ship the game with that, so that right away like kind of takes away some of that concept of us having the kind of the share world kind of thing. So that's not going to be the case. Is there going to be story content? There could be story content. I really doubt it'll be aimed at two parallel universe Vs getting together and doing some stuff, right? Especially default Vs. It's like, oh, hey, well, I'm just going to team up with this random guy that I just met who looks identical to me and has the identical voice and has a Johnny Silverhand in his head. That's like, what?
Yeah, it'll probably be separate from the main single player story.
Yes,
I would agree. I mean, there is some opportunity for non-story interactions in multiplayer in the single player. I mean, for example, you could have multiplayer street racing. You could have multiplayer like arena fighting, that kind of a thing, as just these kinds of side missions you do, and then you're not. Yeah, everyone else is playing a V, but it doesn't like break the immersion of your own story.
And I mean, things in the multiplayer universe of gaming right now, of video gaming, things in this world are being turned on their heads right now. And it's very, I mean, it's as a creator, it's very interesting to watch, but you really have no idea where anything is going to be in a few weeks. For example, I mean, and again, we don't know, we still don't know if this is how long lasting this is, but there's the number one Twitch game being played and watched right now is World of Warcraft. Still. So, is this a flash in the pan? Maybe, maybe not. Are we expected to see a return to some of these gaming elements that Warcraft did? One of the things that's interesting, and we were going to talk about Warcraft anyways, and this is kind of a good way to kind of sort of segue into it, but I'm still talking about Cyberpunk multiplayer right now, what's hot in multiplayer? League of Legends is still hot. Fortnite is still hot. Minecraft is still hot. Grand Theft Auto is still hot. Grand Theft Auto is probably the closest. Right away is the closest example to the world that we're going to be in. We're going to be in a world where it's like, you're running around, you jack cars, you can steal stuff, you can drive up and down the streets, and you can do probably a bunch of stuff with a bunch of other people from your universe. So that is a great example of currently what's on the market. But a few years ago, this whole battle royale thing was not a thing. It could go away as early as next week. Might stay for another 10 years. People said the same thing about League of Legends. League of Legends still, it's still 112,000 people watching that right now versus 128,000 watching, Fortnite versus 161,000 watching, World of Warcraft. And it's interesting that both League of Legends and World of Warcraft have been around for, World of Warcraft has been 15 years. League of Legends is like getting close to like a decade now. It's like, when will these things run out? We don't know. They may never, right? So there's a lot of there's a lot of stuff up in the air, and where we will see or how we will see things maneuver, change, alter, tweak, all that kind of stuff. We'll see, and that'll be really interesting to see how that pans out. So yeah, so that's basically what we've got so far. Again, it's looking pretty cool. I suspect that we will have. I suspect that we'll have something that's not exactly the same as anything else that is currently out there right now. So yeah. So that's where I'll probably put that. So yeah. So it's like, again, I'm trying to be careful because I don't want to say something that I'm not supposed to say. Primarily because, again, some of the info that we used to have is no longer valid because of the way that the multiplayer changed in the scope and in the way that they were going to be, the way that they added it to the game. They basically stripped it out at one point because they were running into too many issues and they were coming up against the clock, and they didn't think that it was going to work.
A couple years ago we were talking about social hubs and things. Mm-hmm. It's going to be completely different from what we were talking about back then. Yeah. When many of us
things are different. Now it's very, very different, and that is not a bad thing. That is a good thing. So.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anything more to share about that? Do you have anything you want to share about possible DLCs that we'll be getting down the road?
No, can't talk too much on that. Don't know too much about what they're planning for DLCs. Wouldn't share it if I did, because again, it's one of these things where it's like they're gonna because they don't. Again, this is CDPR. This is not EA or Activision or any of the other really disgusting companies out there. We don't know what they're working on because they're not working on it yet. They have general concepts and ideas, and they have some very light planning and development going on. But this is as small as a 1-person team and as big as probably like a 5-person team. And that is because they are focusing on making the game and then making DLC. They're not like some of these other companies where they make the game and the DLC at the same time. They strip out a whole bunch of stuff from the game and then just kind of like, dangle that in front of the player as soon as they buy the game. Hey, if you ever like the game, you should buy this $30 DLC pack. It's like they don't do that. They're gonna give you the game, and then anything that they're like, okay, we can't fit this in. We need to polish it way too much. We don't have any time, so just put it on the back burner, and we might add it to the, we might add it to DLC. And this is basically what they've done with multiplayer. Now, multiplayer is a little bit different in that it's a totally different beast than the other DLC that they're doing. So they are working on the multiplayer at the same time. And again, very important that we make this distinction. The difference is that the multiplayer, it requires a lot of like engine work, and it requires a lot of like continual and long-term planning and proofing and working on it. So yes, that is being worked on. Most of their other DLCs are not being worked on, other than like conceptual stuff. But again, you don't have to tweak and rebuild and alter the engine in certain ways that you may not that you're not doing currently. So, yeah. So
all right,
that's interesting how they do that. And then to just reply to your comment there about animations, again, this is not actually true that the first-person animations are different than third-person animations. That's not true. That's not true in Borderlands, and that's not true in a bunch of other games. You see it different when you're in the first person, but that's not how that functioned. That what you talked about there with what you mentioned about the Fallout thing. That's a Blizzard, or sorry, that's a Bethesda engine problem. That's not a.
Oh, you're responding to me.
No, just partially and then the question that was asked.
Yeah.
About,
well, I mean, yeah, it definitely doesn't have to be
depends-
that way.
it
I just know that
depends on the
in
engine.
I know
Yeah.
that in some cases it is because, I mean, for one thing, one of the things you'll notice when you're playing Bethesda's games, especially in Fallout, where you're holding they hold the guns all wrong. Like, it's bizarre.
No.
It's and so like anyway,
But
the
this
position
is-
you're holding the gun in first person, it's like sticking out of your face, whereas opposed to in third person, it's different. So I mean, yeah, I'm sure there's ways to do it where they could potentially use the same animations. I mean, I've never worked with that kind of thing myself, so I don't know. But at least some of the walking animations and stuff, and in a lot of I know in Kingdom Come Deliverance, their animations were fairly realistic. That was a game that was they went with first person immersion in that game to the point where you put one of those helmets on, that just has the two tiny eye holes, protecting your whole face, and it's just this little slit that you look through. Yeah, that's all you see. Most of your screen is blacked out, and you're seeing through these tiny little eye holes. Made them almost unusable. But I guess that's kind of what it would have been like. That's the cost of thorough protection. Paul Young, thank you for the generous super chat. Says thanks for the amazing podcasts. Keep up the good work, guys. Well, thank you very much. We appreciate you all being here and listening. There's often a bunch of you who hang around before the podcast and kind of count down to it, and we're excited and also very humbled that you appreciate this show as much as you do. So, we're really glad for all of you and for listening to the content, and also hitting the like button, sharing it around, doing all of that stuff. We really appreciate it. That's what makes this channel grow. So, all right, anything more about Cyberpunk before we get on to our other fun topics?
Yeah, hit us up for questions in case we missed anything.
There was a couple of things I was going to respond to in the chat here. To respond to Skits, I don't recognize your username. Welcome to the podcast if you're new. Do any of the hosts work with CDPR? We do not work for CDPR or in any official capacity with CD Projekt. We are in constant communication with with them. We don't work for. They don't pay us. They're not
the same cannot be said for the the Cyberpunk community podcast.
No, I'm just talking about us. I'm just talking about us on our channel.
I think they're asking about the community podcast too. So occasionally when we have the community podcast, it is on this channel once every 4 weeks, and during that time, there are some stuff that that goes on semi-professionally between CDPR, but not anything that would color or alter. Nothing that we would need to disclose if we were like under scrutiny of like a governmental advertising body or something like that. Nothing like that. So it's very minor, but and I can't talk about it. But yeah, that is there. I felt like that we should probably mention that. Just
I don't know. I feel like
thoroughly honest.
I feel like that might be overcomplicating it.
Probably yes.
I mean,
But
bottom
I
line,
don't-
Saib and I do not work for CD Projekt, but we are
Yes.
we're in very close communication with several of the people there, and Saib has had some connections on the inside for a long time, but we did really get their attention with the Cyberpunk 2077 community podcast when we started doing that with Mad Queen, Neon Arcade, and Last Known Meal. And then we started inviting CDPR folks to be a part of that. That really grabbed their attention. So we're very fortunate in that way. They're often very eager to answer our questions, communicate with us, and stuff like that. But yeah, we're affiliated in some ways, but not in any official like employment capacity. All right, there was another comment I was going to respond to. Can't remember. I can't see it now, so not sure if it's still there or anyway. Tara K, the forward honesty is appreciated, though it always is. That's why we love you guys. We try to be forward and honest. Not always to our own benefit, but we definitely we don't want to be just another channel that shills for anybody. And if we were, we'd still be shilling for Fallout 76 because we built this. The foundation of our channel was Fallout 4. So if we were devoted to shilling for Bethesda, we'd still be singing their praises, but we can't do that. If they're going to release a crap game and do all kinds of crappy things, we're not going to be okay with that. So, welcome to New Vegas says expansions for Cyberpunk still planned. Yep, that's part of the news we're talking about today. Yeah, they have said they're going to be. Sorry.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I was trying to answer. Yes.
Yes. So anyway, bottom line, yes, there's going to be DLCs and expanded story content, and some of the DLC will be free, or at least some of it will be free. We don't know if everything they're planning to put together will be free, or if there will be some free DLC and some paid expansions. And as I said earlier, either way is fine with me. I have no problem with paying for a good DLC on top of a really good full game. What I have a big problem with is when they pull the crap like Bethesda pulled with Rage 2, where they release a game with barely 10 hours of content, and then they try to sell you DLC 3 months later, and then again 6 months later to expand the story content. That's ridiculous. Jonathan M. says, hi, listening to my first live podcast from you guys. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Glad you're able to catch us live. Okay. Jamie Catalyst Jamie Catalyst, our associate writer and game reviewer, says she wants an expansion that lets her smooch Keanu. Right, Jamie. We know what you really mean. All right. Thanks for keeping it family friendly. All right, Saib, anything else with Cyberpunk?
No, that's pretty much it.
Watchtower 7 asks, are you guys going to do gameplay on this channel? Absolutely, yes.
100%.
Yeah, we can't wait. I mean, we've been anticipating this game for a long time. Can't wait to dive in and take it in different directions and see where we can go. And incidentally, that's something we're planning to do with Greedfall when it comes out in a week or so, is to have at least two of us dive into that game and go in completely different directions and compare notes. I think that'll be an interesting way to cover games down the road, now that we've got a slightly more expanded team. Jamie says, the one time you read my comment, why was it that one? Because I have to embarrass the people that work with us. Paul Young, can't wait to watch both your playthroughs and see when you miss things and when I miss things. There's going to be a lot to miss. There's going to be so much. I think this is the type of game where you're going to go through and compare notes with your friends and be like, wow, I had no idea you could even do that, or I did this whole thing over here. Wow, I totally missed that. this is what I did. You'll have completely different experiences, and that's fantastic. All right. Thank you for all of the comments. I want to keep reading them, but we should get on to the other news, and then maybe we'll read more chat messages near the end when we get to that point in the podcast. But anyway, we do love seeing everybody so active in the live chat. If you want to keep the conversation going after the live broadcast, we welcome you to join our Discord community. You can find the link in the description below. It's a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S fans about all the things we love to talk about and stay up to date about everything we're doing here at the Triple S League. Click the link below to join. Be sure to say hi to us in the welcome channel, and there you can participate in all kinds of scintillating discussions, like what's the difference between octopuses and squid?
Well, an octopus is a very highly intelligent, almost to the point where they can communicate, creature that's really good at problem solving. And a squid tastes really good in butter and a little bit of, fried onions.
So are you saying that animal intelligence is inversely related to how good they taste?
No. Well, yes and no, because cows and chickens and squid all taste really good, and they're all dumb as nails. Like,
Games journos must taste fantastic. All right.
I know, right? Politicians too.
Yes. Anyway, out of context, there was. I'm not kidding. There was a long conversation about squid tentacles versus octopus tentacles, and it was very entertaining. Out of context, it doesn't make any sense, but in context, it's pretty entertaining. All right. So the Epic Games Store. Couple of things with them today. So they basically abandoned all time frames for the roadmap for the rolling out of features on the Epic Games Store. And it was noted because they had this big roadmap that was public, and the basically the deadlines that they put on things, or their target dates for things, kept getting missed, and so now they basically removed all of that and said, okay, this is the order we're focusing things on, and that's basically it. So I don't know how big of a news that is. This seems pretty typical for many large scale projects. I guess the one reason why this seems,
so it's also typical of projects that are failing and that are not doing what they want them to do. And so I'm just going to throw that out because basically I'm gonna full on call it out. Basically, they're at the point at the moment where the store is not working. It's not pulling in the money that they had forecasted. It hasn't pulled in all of the enormous congratulations and adulation from gamers. The gamers who do use the Epic Store don't care and are not aware of the problem and are easily distracted and will easily move on to whatever other shiny thing shows up in the next few weeks to latch onto, and they don't care, frankly, about what Epic is trying to do. They just don't. So yeah, that's kind of where they've hit this wall, and they're sitting here going, so guys, we're in a bit of a problem here, because at this point we expected to be praised and worshipped by the players every single day, and it looks as if we're mostly just being mocked nonstop, which would be true and which would be well deserved. So
Mm-hmm. But I mean, you make a good point about there's going to be a certain percentage of people who play video games who just don't care about all of this stuff going on behind the scenes. And I have to feel like if you follow things to the point where you're aware of the revenue split debate and, Epic trying to undercut Steam's 30% and claiming, Tim Sweeney claiming that they're trying to basically revolutionize the industry, And that's why they're doing all these things and buying all these exclusives, is because they're trying to make the industry better for everyone, including their competing stores, which is an odd thing to aspire to when you're a business that needs to make money. But anyway, if you are in the know and following things enough that you're aware of all that, you're probably... this is my personal prediction, but you're probably on the side of things that says the Epic Store sucks. Why would I want to use it? Mm-hmm. That's my personal take on the situation. There's no scientific data on that I'm aware of, but that's where I think things kind of fall down. But then you look at the situation with DARQ, the game that rejected Epic exclusivity, and you had people left and right buying that game even when they weren't planning to play it, just because they appreciated that that developer said no to that deal.
That's the gumption.
And stuck to and seemingly on principle of saying, no, I advertised this on Steam. I told people it was going to be available on Steam. I'm sticking to that. So that is not only kind of flies in the face of all that, but I believe that also debunks the narrative that gamers are a bunch of toxic, entitled babies. Because that's a very positive showing when that they're willing to rally behind things that really are pro-consumer like that.
Mm-hmm.
So, speaking of DARQ, though, there was an interesting exchange on Twitter this week. Actually, it was last week. This is a little while, a few days old, and it's too bad we missed it. But basically, Tim Sweeney responded to a tweet, as he often does. I think he spends half his day tweeting, or somebody does on his account. But anyway,
no, it's him. It's him. I mean, what else do billionaires do other than?
I don't know. I mean,
accidental billionaires.
It's
they keep themselves mildly entertained by talking randomly. So
if there's one thing that would convince me, or that would lend credence to the idea that Tim Sweeney is in this for the altruistic motives that he claims to have, it's the fact that he's already got so much money that I don't know why he would sit around tweeting to make, to try and, it seems like he's already got so much money that a little more money wouldn't make that much of a difference. But, I mean, then again, I mean, I don't have that much money. So what do I know? But anyway, so somebody tweeted at Tim Sweeney, how does it feel to watch Unfold Games, which is the developer of DARQ, by the way. How does it feel to watch Unfold Games hitting the top 100 best-selling games on Steam right now, with DARQ knowing that a huge reason is that they said no to your exclusivity deal? This is what people voting with their wallet looks like. And Tim Sweeney,
being the ever so
probably should have just let that one go. But instead he responded. He said, we're happy to see DARQ succeed because it's a great game and it deserves success. That's why we contacted them, to explore exclusivity. Right, Tim, because history shows that going exclusive on the Epic Games Store leads to incredible success for your game. Well, anyway, that statement being what it is, Unfold Games, who, by the way, is like a single individual development team, says, Tim, I'm glad to hear that. If you change your mind and accept DARQ to your store non-exclusively, I'll donate 100% of my Epic Games Store revenue to a charity. And if you accept, the charity can be picked by the community at a later date. So I was tempted to put in the title here. I mean, first of all, Epic Smackdown. Pun not intended, but definitely works. Secondly, we're more than a week later. Now, this happened on August 26th, and Tim Sweeney has not responded to this. And thirdly, I was tempted to put in the title that DARQ's developer called Epic's bluff. Now, I figured that was a little too editorialized, but that's kind of how I see it personally.
No, they did.
He's calling him out. That's why I changed it to he's calling him out. He's calling him to, he's calling him to task on this because, they offered Unfold Games this exclusivity deal, and they made it very clear that releasing the game on the Epic Store non-exclusively was not an option. And
yeah,
so this was only worthwhile. So we're happy. I don't even know. We're happy to see DARQ succeed because it's a great game and it deserves success. Well, then why not put it on your store and aid its success by having it on multiple storefronts? Isn't that what you're always talking about, Tim? Isn't that what you are on about all the time? Isn't that the goal for your gaming utopia? That, games are available everywhere at a reasonable revenue split, and that's what you want to see. And that's why when it was announced that Cyberpunk 2077 was going to be on the Epic Games Store but not exclusively, you took the opportunity to say, look, the multi-store future is here, and yet you completely crap on your own narrative with stories like this when you make it clear to indie developers you can only be on our store if we can have your game exclusively.
Yeah. And so absolutely, hands down, this is a disgusting display of hypocrisy, stupidity, and just flat out incompetence from this man again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a little on the disgusting side. If you honestly thought it was a good game and it deserved success, then excuse me, Tim, why aren't you allowing it to go on the store? Oh, because we only want it on the store if we can, go nah. It's like, how much of a child are you right now, Tim? Are you that big of a child? Are you that selfish that you can't say, you know what? Let me just help everybody. You know what would have been a good move right from the get-go? Would have been bringing on everybody onto the Epic Store and setting up a fair, just way that anybody could get their game onto the Epic Store. And working on, basic features like a shopping cart. Because right now, if you want to buy 5 to 10 items, that's going to raise an alert flag on your credit card when you make 5 to 10 purchases in a row on a website. That immediately raises red flags, and for some accounts, it immediately stops the card and cancels all current payments. Congratulations on giving some people a massive level migraine.
Yeah.
Tim,
how do they have the money to buy exclusivity on Borderlands 3 and not have the money to have someone to put a shopping cart on their site, on their store? It makes no sense. You want to change the gaming industry, Tim Sweeney? Here's my advice. Offer a good storefront. Offer that 12% revenue split that you can't shut up about. And see what happens. Watch the developers naturally come to your store because you make more money on it, and they're not embarrassed to say, "Hey, we're going on the Epic Games Store," because it's not, a totally absurdly featureless and crappy storefront. Like if you put a quality product out that people want to have their games on and aren't embarrassed by because it's not a catalyst for controversy, like every time something goes Epic exclusive, what happens? There's a controversy. People get riled up. That's not good for business. Like if you attract business to your storefront naturally, rather than strong arming your way into the market with these exclusivity deals, you might do a little bit better. Just a thought. What do I know? I'm just somebody who consumes games for a living, and I can't stand your freaking storefront. So
it's so arrogant. It's so arrogant of him to sit here and say this kind of stuff.
They're at plus 100 games now, and they I don't know if they have any features for sorting through them, but they barely have anything. Like, they have a search bar now. I remember when that was added. They already had several exclusives in the bag before they added a search bar to their store.
Brilliant.
Yeah, whatever. We'll see. I mean, is it a sign that they're... It is baffling that the features that they have promised are just not... We're talking about basic store features. Sure, it might take years to get to the sort of robust features of a storefront like Steam. Which, I will add, you can complain about the revenue split all you want. You can complain about them being complacent and lazy, whatever. All valid complaints. But people still use it. And as far as I know, they didn't gain the success they have by buying exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I mean, someone's going to say, "Oh, well, there were no other storefronts at the time." Well, I don't care. The point is that, you know, it happened organically. They offered a product that people wanted to use, and so people started using them, and now, you know, they dominate the market. You want to change that? You want to offer competition that forces them to lower their revenue split? You can do that, just not like this. This is bad. This is a bad idea. All right. Watchtower 7 says, Mad Queen brought me here. Shout out to Mad Queen. Great Cyberpunk channel. If you want anything on Cyberpunk lore, you can find it there. Okay, and... Oh, Gen 1 says, what? Not Claptrap. How did I miss this? Did you miss the fact that Borderlands 3 was an Epic exclusive? I'm sorry to break the news to you.
Yeah. sorry to break the news to you. Not only is Claptrap not an Epic exclusive, yeah, stuff at that company, not so hot right now. Not just in general, doing some really shady stuff. If I mean, you can do some Googling, see if Borderlands and related developers and publishers have been involved in anything recent. Yeah. You know, we did go out on a limb when Randy got in trouble, and we did defend him. We did say that it's best to, you know, wait until evidence comes in. Well, just to do a quick update on that, some evidence came in, and I mean, again, I said it then, and I'll say it again. Randy's not exactly a great boss to work for. You know, he really likes to do things his way, and he really likes to have control over everything. And you know, whether you like it or not, he is the boss. He does decide where certain monies go. And when he was told, "Hey, you guys did a really good job with the game here. Here's $12 million to hand out to all your fine folks that are working over at the company of yours," and he goes, "Sure thing." Then he walks into the office and goes, "Hey guys, guess what? The company really enjoyed our last product, so much so that they sent over these 12 boxes of donuts, guys! Donuts! 12 of them! Amazing, huh? Now, excuse me, I gotta go to the bank. I've got 12 enormous suitcases just weighing me down, and I gotta get to the bank." "Oh, really? Really? What's in those suitcases?" "Oh, I don't know. It's just really weird. You know, but I gotta get to the bank. You know, kids got this thing."
Mm-hmm. Are we gonna get sued now? Are we?
No, but we might have people show up at our house. You know, hired goons.
Take Two style, yeah.
Disgusting.
Those had better have been some damn good donuts. That's all I can say. Tara K says, I think they're referring to David Eddings being replaced as a voice actor for Claptrap. Yep.
Yeah, him too. He doesn't have good words about the company either. Unfortunately, it's quite sad. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go on to our final story of the day. Some pretty exciting news. I was watching a bit of the Nintendo Direct earlier today, and I didn't have time to watch all of it, but there was some interesting.
I'm so excited for this.
There were some interesting tidbits, and I'm going to get into a couple of them here. I had a friend on text message, giving me a play-by-play shout out to New Ultra Broad on Twitch. He's a Twitch streamer, good friend of mine. We've done some co-streams before. Anyway, he was giving me a play-by-play of the Nintendo Direct stream, and there were some interesting things, and one of them being, they're releasing Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, on the Nintendo Switch. On September 24th, I believe. Let me just double check. I have it in the notes here. I don't want to steer anybody wrong. Yeah, September 24th. Jedi Outcast is coming to Nintendo Switch, and Jedi Academy is coming in early 2020. And these two games are also going to be released on PS4. This was not only announced in the Nintendo stream today, but there's also a posting about it on StarWars.com. Two classic Star Wars games are coming back to consoles from Lucasfilm and developer Aspyr, starting September 24th, with the action-adventure game Star Wars Jedi Knight 2, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Academy will follow in early 2020.
Now,
so,
I made a Twitter comment on this, and you know how I love the twatter. The twatter says, or what I said on the twatter, is that maybe EA could finally take some notes on how to make an actual Star Wars game. And I mean, Disney might learn how to make an actual game or an actual Star Wars product that contains actual lore and real plot. And never mind. That's probably not. That's just wishful thinking.
If you are young enough that you were not exposed to the Jedi Knight series when it was originally released, definitely check these out. Jedi Outcast, absolutely. Jedi Academy were just such great games.
Stellar writing, stellar performances by all of the people, including, and I was ecstatic when this happened. Now I'm giggling like a schoolgirl. I was so happy. I'm like, Mark Hamill is finally gonna have his moment as the Luke we were actually expecting to see.
Well, there you go.
Ladies and gentlemen, he is a wise teacher of the new Jedi Order, doing amazing stuff across the galaxy, being a leader. You get to see and hear him, and it's actually Mark Hamill doing the voice. And what's most funny about this is that this is part of the lore that they shoved in a can and kicked out the back street.
Where
none of this lore ever happened at all, according to the new Disney execs. But now they've realized, oh, well, we don't really have any good Star Wars games. Well, these ones were really popular for the time, and in fact, they're some of the best games ever. And hey, they've got a whole bunch of your famous, actors in them. Well, okay, I guess we could put it out. Watch this thing do gangbusters, and for Disney to finally realize, oh, maybe we actually should listen, to people who actually know how to make this product work. Yeah. So that's a thing. Yeah. Very excited for it. Honestly, I cannot wait. I cannot wait for this game to see other people start to react to this. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, this is very good. This is very good. Also, both Academy and Outcast, but mostly Outcast, some of the best lightsaber combat multiplayer PvP you will ever have. I wonder if they're going to have it. If they have this, I am honestly right now thinking about going out and buying a Switch. Like seriously, if they have the PvP engaged and you can do duels and stuff, I am probably going to go and get the Switch, because this is absolutely the one thing that could have dragged me into that whole getting a console thing, and this is one of them, because to see the community and so many people playing this game and actively being interested in this game, I can't wait, man. I can't wait. It's so good. It's so good. So good.
I completely agree. Unfortunately, I have to correct you on one minor point. It wasn't Mark Hamill doing the voices. Of
Are
Luke's.
you
It was
sure?
Bob Bergen, who is he's a regular voice double for Luke Skywalker. He sounds scarily like him.
Because it really does sound like Mark from like, wow, I'm shocked. Oh, wow.
No, I'm not. I don't know if that's the case for all. I mean, I don't know how many games Skywalker's been in, but for those two,
He's been in a few. Okay. I'm gonna have to look it up because I was somebody at an event told me that it was Mark Hamill. Now this event was like seriously like 15 years ago, so
they may have been mistaken,
or
yeah.
they may have been misinformed. So okay. But yes, this is still very, very interesting. I'm still like, very excited for this. So
yeah, yeah. At least that's the information I've turned up doing a quick Google search here. I mean, if anybody knows otherwise, please do let us know. But right, yeah. So also, Kazra Azad points out, don't forget Dark Forces and Dark Forces 2. Yes, Dark Forces, and Dark Forces 2 was the first Jedi Knight game.
Yes.
And then Jedi Knight 2 came out, which was Jedi Outcast, and then Jedi Academy. They were named really weird. But yeah, it's all one series of games starring the same character.
I wonder. Yeah, seriously? Which one's coming out first? Is it the 2 or just the 1?
Jedi Knight 2 Jedi Outcast comes out first, September 24th. And then
what about Dark Forces 2?
they didn't it doesn't mention anything about that one. So
okay. So it's for sure starting. We're starting with Outcast. We're not going all the way back to. Okay. Yeah. No.
That's right. And I mean, I don't know if those games are so old that I don't know how much there would be in complication in terms of making them run technically. But I will also say that the series, like the first 2 games in the series, Dark Forces and Dark Forces 2, were really good games, but the series really hit its stride with Jedi Outcast. Like, that's where it just, they pushed it up extra level.
The gameplay and the combat is absolutely stellar. In Dark Forces 2, which is the one that I believe has the cinematics and the actual filmed stuff for it. In that one, I highly suspect that I strongly suspect that we have, I'm gonna say that. Okay, yeah. So yeah, no. Sorry, I'm just trying to seriously. It's been so long, and we should do like a couple of big live streams for this. But yeah, no, okay, no. I'm just thinking on the go.
Are we going anywhere with this train of thought? Yeah. No, so Dark Forces 2 was the better of the story written. The Outcast game was the first one that had really, really, really good combat. But the story in Dark Forces 2 was probably the best story. Dark Forces was basically movie script from kind of like it's basically Rogue One, just without the random stuff that they put in there. It was a good movie, but it was still not. Yeah. And Dark Forces, the original Dark Forces was more of an FPS, wasn't it?
Yes, it was an FPS, total first-person game. It was tough to get through.
Did you even have a lightsaber in that one?
No, you did not.
Kyle Katarn doesn't become a Jedi Knight until Dark Forces 2 Jedi Knight.
Dark Forces 2, yeah.
Yeah. But here's what's really weird about all of this, and this is one of the main reasons I want to talk about this, besides the fact that these are awesome games. When Disney bought LucasArts, they basically looked at the entire expanded universe and said, nope, we're throwing that out. That is no longer canon. We are going in our own direction. These these games are part of that expanded universe that got thrown out. So this is not canonical. And so it kind of is baffling to me that they're now saying, yes, we can re-release. We're going to re-release these games that have a lore that completely contradicts our new movies. Mm-hmm. And we're going to put that out there. Like, does that not strike you as kind of strange? And you touched on it a little bit already. Maybe they're saying, we have no good Star Wars games. Let's put these old ones out. But that is odd, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, that's very bizarre. It's very bizarre that they're, and this is what I'm saying, is like, they know that EA has screwed this up. I mean, they screwed up the movies big time, but this frankly is beyond the pale now. We are completely beyond the pale of what they were originally planning with the series, the complete reboot, completely dumping any of that silly old player, or user loved content. Now, no, none of that. We're not interested in that content anymore. We're not interested in doing the thing. No, from now on, here on out, this is basically, our world, period. And yeah,
right. Anyway, yeah, it's such great, like, the story of Kyle Katarn and his what's his companion in that game? I keep wanting to say Mara Jade, but that's not her. That's the woman from the Timothy Zahn novels. What's Kyle's female companion in the Jedi Knight series? What's her name?
I actually need to look this up, strangely enough.
That's bizarre. But anyway, yeah. They were great characters, and we talked about this when Rogue One came out. We talked about how they were kind of morphed. Jan Ors, that's right. Jan Ors. Yeah, great story between the two of them. And there was a ton of great stuff in the expanded universe that they could have used.
This is one of these stories that is it is one of these stories where this is probably my two favorite characters from the entire universe. This includes, I'm including everything, even the Old Republic. For the good guys, these are my two favorite characters, Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn. Mm-hmm. There's Jan Ors and Kyle Katarn, who got the who stole the plans for the Death Star. Kyle Katarn used to be a stormtrooper, a specialty stormtrooper, betrayed the Empire, joined what was definitely a completely losing side for the right thing, became a master Jedi, did all this stuff, and Jan Ors has got a whole bunch of, really cool backstory on her side as well. And it's definite, like, power couple that exists throughout the game, and just amazing. Have always loved this story, and the way that they treated it was disgusting. Just like, no, we're done. And then they reboot the movie. They completely delete Jan Or's existence completely, and they replace her with somebody who's not even that good. Again, Rogue One was a good movie. It did not do justice to the original story if you actually read the original stories. And that's sad. It's also sad that, because again you have all this. I don't know if I want to get into this. I'm not going to get too much. So yes, very cool, very interesting. Loved it a lot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. I'll be grabbing that for my Switch. They've done something with the motion controls for the Joy-Cons and whatnot for the Switch version. They've integrated that into the gameplay somehow, so that would be super cool if that works with with how you hold your lightsaber. Oh man, I'm gonna have to look into that now. I didn't read up on it too deeply, but they did mention they've integrated the motion controls, so that's really, really cool. All right, and one other thing that came out of the Nintendo Direct stream that was kind of interest to me. So they're releasing, they're re-releasing, a remastered version of Zelda: Link's Awakening, and they've got this. There's a thing in it where you can like build your own dungeons and share them with your friends, and you can play their dungeons. Which I thought was a kind of a neat idea. Kind of more user-created content, kind of along the lines of Super Mario Maker. There's been some debate, like, that the idea comes up every now and then in the Mario community, like, what if they did Super Zelda Maker? And there's been debate about, well, I mean, how are you going to put out a tool set for people to make a good Zelda game or Zelda dungeon, or even a 3D Mario game for that matter? It'd be a very difficult challenge. But anyway, so there's some limited thing where you can build dungeons and share them with your friends, but the way you can share them is you use a compatible amiibo, and you scan it, and then your dungeon goes onto the amiibo, and then you give it to your friend, and they swipe it on their Switch, and now they can try out your dungeon. What a bizarrely awkward way to transfer user content around. And it made me think about the weird ways that Nintendo monetizes things. And we rag a lot on Bethesda, on EA, for their weird monetization. We don't talk about it with regard to Nintendo a lot, but Nintendo has some strange monetization things. For example, I'm a huge Super Mario Maker player. That's kind of my downtime game. I load that up and blast through some levels. But when I first bought the game, in order to actually be able to like connect online and play other people's levels and not just be limited to what's on your own machine, you have to buy the Nintendo Online subscription. Which isn't much. It's like, I think I picked it up for like $5 for the year or something. There was some special if you bought it in combo. It's not much. It's like $10 a year, something like that. But still, extra thing you have to pay for. To have online connectivity, you need to pay an extra amount of money. You didn't need that prior to that. You didn't need that on the Wii U. But I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if that was the same for pretty much any game. If you want, why do they do that? Is it just because they can get away with it? Like, that seems sketchy to me. And I love Nintendo. I really do. I love their IP. As a company, they do a lot of things right. But they do have some sketchy monetization that has just kind of, I don't know, has caused me to raise my eyebrows over the last little while. And I wonder if we let them get away with it more because they have so much goodwill. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Saib? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, they don't have. I mean, they're not the top. They're
not the worst.
They're not the worst by far.
But even like the Amiibos thing.
The other thing that they do is, I mean, they don't really cater to anything but what they think basically teens are. It's like, I really don't know why they don't do some more of like. I mean, they do with. Okay, they do with one, right? They do with shoot, what's the witch girl who fires bullets from her shoes?
I have no idea.
She uses hair as her. And this is the thing. She's completely naked all the time. She's only using her hair as her clothing and armor. Bayonetta, thank you. God, I sound like an idiot. So yeah, Bayonetta, basically, which is a really solid game. I wish they do more stuff like that. I wish that they do more cool stuff. So yeah, I
All right.
I don't think we're Bayonetta enough fans to make a Bayonetta armpit joke. So I'm just gonna leave it for now.
Fair enough. But anyway, you were. Did you have a point about monetization with that?
No, no. I mean, I just wish that they did some more adult, like not adult like wow wow
Just
content,
more mature
but, like,
stuff.
just some more mature stuff. Because again, it's like I have very few reasons to pick up to pick up a Switch, because all of the games are like super low on the like skill totem pole. Like you can get really high with skill, but I mean there's not that much there for that.
Well, it's a different audience.
Yeah.
It's a different. They're going for that
Yeah,
family
it's for a
friendly.
different audience.
So, it's the type of games that I play with my kids. Mario Odyssey, Captain Toad. We love those kinds of games. I play it with them. Yeah, they're pretty easy for me. But I sit down with my daughter. We set it up in 2-player mode. I give her one of the Joy-Cons, and we have a blast. Although Mario Odyssey, I will say, you want to 100% that game, it gets tough. It does get really tough. But yeah, when it starts out, it's like average difficulty, because they want it to be appealing for for kids and families and that kind of thing. But there are some more third-party titles that are more mature coming to the Switch. The Witcher 3 obviously is one, and I don't know if they had to tone down some of the adult content in that to get it approved for the Switch. I don't know personally, but they do seem to be opening it up a little more to that kind of a thing. But yeah, anyway, that was just the thought I had with things that they lock behind amiibos in that game, and just these extra little things where they're kind of nickeling and diming you. They do offer a lot for what you pay for. Like, for example, with the Nintendo Online subscription, like, you don't just get to connect with other players in your games. They give you you can play all of the retro games that they offer, the NES titles. Plus, just within a couple days here, they're going to be releasing a whole bunch of Super NES titles, so they're really expanding that library. So I'm excited to see what's there.
I would really love to see. I honestly would love to see like more Paper Mario kind of stuff. But no, as far as like the monetization, I mean, I don't think it's I don't think they're as bad as they could be at the moment.
Yeah,
So I mean, yeah.
Everything's relative. I mean, it's not as bad as they could be, but also, like, Tara K just brought up Smash Bros. And saying some of their costumes had to be altered to be less sexy. I wasn't aware of that, but I do know that
I dislike that extremely.
But you pay, it's something like $25 for an expanded pack of fighters in that game. Mm-hmm. It seems a little over the top. And yeah, it's like, and I mean, that's I don't know if you'd consider that pay to win. I don't know if they have some advantage over the other fighters, or if it's just this is your favorite character from some other game. Kind of a thing. But anyway, those are my thoughts on the Nintendo Direct stream. But yeah, very cool that those Star Wars games are coming. I can't wait for that. And I really hope that Jedi Outcast, or not Jedi Outcast, it's all these Jedi games. I'm gonna get the names mixed up now. But the new Jedi game from Respawn, I hope it does well. Like, I hope it's good, is what I should say. If it's crap, I don't hope it does well. But we were kind of hoping for an extension of the good stuff from the Jedi Knight series in that game, and perhaps, I guess now if it is if it is absolutely terrible, then at least we do have some of the original Jedi Knight games to play. So, All right.
No, big move in the right direction for them, and I'm honestly ecstatic with what they're doing. I think this is really truly solid, and I'm so happy. I'm very, I am very, very, very happy to have them headed in this direction. So we'll see where we get going from here. But honestly, it's a good day for Nintendo fans, and almost tempted
To get a Switch, yeah, they are
almost tempted to get a Switch.
Yeah, to get it just for that. I don't. Can you buy them for PC? I know I have Jedi Academy on Steam. You must.
Yeah. We have it on Steam. We've actually done some we actually did a live stream. Messing around with that and doing some general combat stuff. But yeah, no, it could be. It could be better, absolutely, 100%. And I'm hoping, and I'm going to wait until it comes out, but I'm hoping that they've increased or added a significant amount of polish. Please and thank you. A little bit more polish to the thing, because the PC ports they're okay, they're not good. It's pretty rough playing them. In all honesty, it's really rough playing them. So. But yeah, but not bad. I have to emphasize this. It's not as bad as it's not as bad as other games have been.
A couple chat comments I want to get to before we close out here. Sunglare says that the family-friendly thing is a huge misconception of Nintendo. Nintendo of Japan has always had adult, mature games. Nintendo of America always tried to hide them away.
Mm-hmm. No, that's true too.
And Terror K says No More Heroes is a good example of a more adult game that's been with Nintendo for a while. Resident Evil as well. Someone mentioned Mortal Kombat as well. Yeah, when I say the family-friendly thing, I mean more about their in-house IPs.
Yeah, and I mean, I know that some of those games have been with the Nintendo for a while, but some of those games, Mortal Kombat, that's not on Nintendo right now. So, unless I'm mistaken, but I'm pretty sure.
Someone said Mortal Kombat 11 was on the Switch. Anyway, Darkness says, has Nintendo sent goons to any YouTuber's house as of late? No, we good.
No.
And Terra K says no.
Okay.
Terra K says no. Nintendo sends hired Goombas instead.
Haha, Goombas.
And finally, Jason Cropper with another super chat. Thank you so much. Jason Cropper says, with Sup Matto gone, you guys are the last best thing on YouTube. You are way too kind. Damn it, we do not deserve these statements. He goes on to say, that means no pics from CDPR's live public Twitch feeds, please. Love you guys. I think CDPR would be okay with that. At least I don't think they'd be sending goons after us if we did that, but yeah. Thank you so much. We really appreciate all the support for this show, and we really are humbled by how much you love it. So thank you very much, and if you do appreciate this content, please do slam that like button before you leave. Also, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, all of that. Really appreciate all of that. That tells YouTube that you appreciate this content. I also want to shout out our Patreon supporters and channel members who help to make this content possible. Our big damn heroes on Patreon, Old Man Manson, and our two anonymous supporters there. Our channel members, Captain Dammit, Jason Cropper, Mr. Padzernik, Jer Schultz, Game Notes, Paul Young, and Night City Punk. Don't forget to like, comment, and sub. As I already said, if you're listening after the fact on iTunes, Spotify, or SoundCloud, or any of the other platforms that this podcast goes out to, we appreciate your interactions on those platforms as well. And don't forget, you can join the live show on YouTube on Wednesday nights and Saturday mornings, where you can interact with us and other listeners and be part of the discussion. By the way, you can also find the Cyberpunk 2077 community podcast in an audio-only, very portable format. You can go to anchor.fm. It's also on Spotify. It's on a variety of places. I'm sure you can probably search it on Google, find it there. If not, we can put a link up for you. Anyway, the Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Asheninity. On behalf of Cybsidian, thank you all so much for listening. We'll talk to you again very soon.